Hey, Jean, can you hear me? Okay, good. Um, I think I scared everybody off since I couldn't get this working. It's a little convoluted. Um, Actually, I just realized I got it working, but it's working using Safari, and it says not to use Safari, use Chrome. So I don't know. Very, very confusing. We'll see if a few more people show up. They don't have anything within their interface that you can say share a link. So I don't even know how to share this or invite people to, drop in or whatever. Wait, what is this? Oh, wait. Maybe I can. Oh, okay. There's a link. I found it. Okay. Yeah, I just saw that share arrow. I was looking in the wrong place. Uh, hey, Alex, how you doing? We're gonna we'll start in about 3 minutes. Took me about 45 minutes to figure everything out. I probably should have figured everything out before I decided to do one of these, but um, I just ended up with an extra hour or two today, so figured I'd give it a shot. I'm gonna post it. I'll be right back. I have to post this on Facebook. See if we can get a few people in here. I just want to post it, and then I'll go ahead and get started, and people can join in once I get here. I just have one more post to do, then we'll get going. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, even though I probably lost a lot of people since I should have figured this out before I started. So we're going to create this design. By the way, the issue I found is I'm on iMac Pro, and the resolution's like 5K. So I was trying to push out the lowest resolution, which is still way too big for streaming. And I kind of figured out there's a low resolution setting that I didn't even know existed. So once I did that, it worked. So we're going to go ahead and create this design. This is usually where it starts. I'll just do a sketch. I did one a lot looser in this, and then scan it in. And in Photoshop, I make sure it's a perfect square, since when I draw it, it's not always that way. But we're going to draw on this. This is usually the way the file is set up. By the way, these palettes are massive compared to what I normally see on my screen. And when you stream, the cursor is a little kind of like moves way faster than what I'm normally using anyway. And so we'll go ahead and get started. A lot of shape building when it comes to this style. So that's where I'll start. And I usually zoom in when I'm working. It's just easier. But wow, this is like way bigger than I'm used to a high definition monitor. So this is kind of, I have to get used to this. By the way, I use quite a few plugins by Astute Graphics. Dynamic Corners is probably the one, I guess the one I use the most. And it's so I can do stuff like this. And then I'll go ahead and pull this out. The reason why I don't use the corner widget all the time, and you'll see me use it here because I go back and forth as needed. Just because there's some issues with the corner widget. It'll create redundant points, ironically. And so I obviously don't like that. But yet I'll still use it, even though I technically know it's going to create a redundant point. Wow, this is like working in a walk-in closet, a small closet, just having everything so huge. I feel very confined right now. I always use smart guides, so I always have that turned on. So as I drag down a path, it'll snap to another path. And I'll go in and edit points I don't need as I create, like that. We'll join these. By the way, I'm going to do my best to get this all done within a time frame. So that's all I did, is I connected those. And I'll use the rounding to go back in and round these, kind of like that. Actually, this one probably a little smaller. Oops. guys, I'm trying to manage all these screens too. I have all this stuff on my secondary monitor, and so, okay, there we go. Yeah, Astute Graphic plugins are they're just a game changer. I mean, I've been rounding stuff before Illustrator ever had rounding. I was using it like 6 years prior to it ever being pushed out by Adobe. And I still prefer it. When I get to some of these Scala or scale shapes, I'll kind of explain why. Normally on a design like this, it'd probably take me about, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, but I'm not explaining stuff or talking, so it might take longer than that. But this style is definitely shape-driven. So here's one plugin I like. It's called Collider Scribe. Let me see, where is it? Up here? Nope. There. So it puts it under this menu, but I like this one, Snap to Collision. And what I'm going to do is if I grab a shape, notice how it'll automatically snap to an object you draw it closer to, like that. And here, I'll probably make this a little bigger, but I'll still use the same plugin. I'll usually pull it away, and you can see it snaps. Otherwise, you're just kind of eyeballing it. You never know if it's going to be, identical. This. Trying to decide if I want it to be there or somewhere else. This uses all the same tolerances, so I'm trying to decide if I want to. And because I can't make up my mind sometimes, I have a graphic style at this size. The thickest the line would ever get is 4 points, so I'll usually test it just to see if I like the vibe. I think that's pretty good, but I think on this one, I'm gonna go right about there. I'll try it again. I still can't make up my mind. I think I'll be okay with that. Many times when I'm working on these now, I'll go back like a few days later and just edit something because it's still bugging me, and I'll figure out a different way to handle something. Like that. I'll usually take a shape I already created like this, and I'll just go ahead. Boy, this cursor is really wonky. It's just, I don't know if it's kind of getting hung up because it's streaming or whatever, but it's jumping around quite a bit. So this is kind of based after, I have a koi pond, so this is, I kind of drew this just thinking of the koi we have. There's different kinds of koi, and one of them that we have is a longtail koi with really kind of fanned out fins, and they have a lot of really interesting stuff on their, I don't know, their head, their snout, whatever you want to call it. It's these weird growths, so that's kind of what these aren't nostrils really, it's just to kind of reflect that. I spent all last weekend cleaning my koi pond. I mean, like, it'd been, man, a long time. Like, I do routine maintenance, but this was like way beyond that. This was emptying like almost 3,000 gallons and completely replacing it, but restructuring the bottom of the pond, the rock work, and pressure washing everything. I had to remove a plant. It had embedded itself in the side of the stone bed um, underwater. It's a pond plant, but it ended up weighing like 200 pounds. It's like, man, that was a pain to get out. I had to like pull apart some of the brickwork and yank out all the roots that had grown behind it, because you have a bladder underneath all the rocks, so the water doesn't seep into the ground. And it had kind of impregnated itself within that whole structure. It was kind of crazy. But the difference is before I was having a lot of clarity problems with the water, because this plant was just shedding all this crap into the water. And now that we got rid of it, I mean, it totally solved the problem. And now it looks like a mountain stream. It's kind of so clear, which is really cool. I thought it would improve it. I didn't know it would improve it that much. So I'm kind of very anal with this style, because I really like it when lines flow into other lines and kind of carry your eye through. So I'll go out of my way to make kind of that happen. And by the way, if I can't find stuff, it's because these pallets are about 4 times larger than they normally are when I'm working. So we're creating right now. I'm creating essentially the fin on the fish. So we'll round these like that. And everything, once again, is formatted as a proportionate square on all the designs I create for this. So I wish I could. I'm going to put on my headphones, because you guys can hear me, but I need to. I don't hear anything, so I'm going to see if I put my headphones on, I can. So I feel like I'm just talking to myself. Give me 1 second. Let me. Okay. Can you guys, somebody say something? Okay. Well, apparently I don't have something set up right, because I can't hear anybody if you are talking. So sorry about that. So I'm just going to keep going. Oh, I'm echoing. Okay, that's not good. I'll turn that off. So I still need to figure things out, apparently. I like technology. I just hate when it's not intuitive. And this seems like very counterintuitive. It seems like they could create an all-in-one system. I mean, YouTube has all the server capacity. They have user interface, up the yin yang. Why can't they create an all-in-one system? So all you have to do is, you visit YouTube, click go live, and it all kind of takes care of itself. At least I wish it worked that way. Okay, good. Okay. By the way, the shape building tool, I use it all the time with strokes like this because it's way faster than, I mean, back in the day when you had to use the scissor tool to cut everything and zoom in, and it's kind of a lot faster doing it that way. Okay, next thing. The interface is so big in this recording. It's ridiculous. It keeps throwing me off because you know how a baby, a book for kids, learn how to read or whatever, and it's like everything's just massively huge. That's what this feels like. It feels like Fisher Price Illustrator. Hey, Lem. How you doing? Okay, so I'm going to show you one reason why I use the corner fillet tool in Illustrator, but I'm going to show you why I don't use it for everything. So if I have a square and I want to create this kind of scale shape, you can just drag select these two. The widget controls come up. Well, the first reason why I don't use it all the time is these widget controls, unless you're zoomed in like this, you can accidentally round stuff. That annoys me. I don't like how they implemented it, but you can grab both and you can do this. And that looks great. I usually do this most of the time the other way, where I'll start with the circle, and with the corner widget, it's not going to give you any of those rounding because it's a circle. So it says there are no corners. But with the rounding tool I use, Dynamic Corners, I can just, click on a shape like this and it detects what could be a corner. So I'll just make it like this. Now, it really doesn't matter. You end up with the same shape, but if I go here, this is a smooth anchor point. It just transitions from one side to the next. But when you build this from a square in Illustrator, it looks like a smooth point, but what it actually does is it creates a redundant point sitting on top. So it's not a huge deal, but this is pretty sloppy for them to make it this way. It shouldn't do that. Especially when, if I go to my, where is it, Pathfinder options here, I have remove redundant point turned on, but it still creates one when I do this. So that's why I tend not to use this most of the time, even though I still use it. That can cause problems. So I don't know why they left it that way. So we're going to go ahead and use this as here, and I'll first make sure it's the right size. So I'll do that, and then it needs to only be this wide, like that. I'll bring this down here. Now, because this style has a certain thickness of the line, it'll resolve areas like this once I apply that stroke to it. So I don't worry about that. But I'm just trying to set this up where it's going to look the best. That, and that. Now take this. Third one. So that's how I'll create that detail. And so I'll check this usually. At this size, it'd be 4 point, and you can see it fills in all those weird gaps. So that's going to look fine. Okay, we want to round this. That. This is another example of, it'll create the back. I'm not so sure I like this curve up here. I might redo that. Let me do that. Okay, this is where I will use the corner widget where I'll select these two and I'll go ahead and round them because it does do that type of thing, in my opinion, easier and better than the plugin I use. So that's why I use both. I'd say 90% of the time I'm using the plugin, and everything else for specific things, I'll use the native tool. That's okay. We almost have all the base. Uh-oh. Oh. I almost didn't see that. That was almost off the screen. Okay. A few more things, and then we'll move on. This is kind of a tricky one, getting it to bend and go into here. So the way I'm going to handle that is I make a copy of this one. And where's my swatches? We'll make that blue so you can see what I'm doing. And then I will zoom in, and wherever it overlaps the corner of the other one, I'll cut it there. Get rid of that. These two, I'll group them, go into isolation mode, join these. Sometimes, yeah, you see how Illustrator will create. This is how I was told by an engineer at Illustrator that this happens because Illustrator is too precise, is what they told me. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't buy it. But it creates these redundant points. So it's kind of a hassle because it should be smart enough to know why would you ever want a redundant point. But anyway, I usually just nudge it one direction away, take the other one, remove it, and then select this again and nudge it back. And then that way it's going to allow me to round this corner. And I'll do that. Then I'll go back and I'm going to just cut it there. We don't need this overlap because when we expand it, it would add anchor points to that. And that's how I create that section. So you guys might have run into that kind of issue where it creates redundant points. And I've noticed most times when Illustrator does stuff like that, people just assume they did something wrong. I mean, it's really strange because I run into that like just a lot where people, they show me something and they go, well, why does it do this? And I'm looking at what they're showing me and I have to tell them, I go, well, you're actually not doing anything wrong. That's just the way some engineer decided to make it work. And they kind of give me a weird look like, why would they do that? And I go, I don't know. That's just the way it is. So there. So that's how I'll use the rounding tool. And the thing I like about the plugin I use for rounding is I don't have to select anything first. I can just grab it and go. Just makes the process easier. So I'm going to create this indent on the tail, and I probably should have built it a little differently to begin with, but let's deal with it. And that. Then I'll take this side. There. Drag it off. Don't need that corner. Actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I might... Nah, I don't need to do that. We'll just take this, take the tail, minus front, so we get that indent. Then I'll put a line here. Go back to the pink. Yeah, we're almost done, and then I'll expand it, and then I'll do some color exploration, and then I'll show you how to create a really simple pattern, because I've been turning all these into patterns. I'm telling you, this is like the interface that you see so much bigger than what I use every day just because of the screen resolution, but the tool's very jittery as well. It's like kind of bouncing around. Okay, here we go. There we go. And maybe down a little bit. There we go. I'm trying to go as fast as I can too, because right now nobody's at my house except me, and my wife's going to get back pretty soon, and she's picking up some dinner, and she's going to, you know, she'll come in and tell me, okay, I have to go eat, so hopefully I can get done before that. So we have most of the line work done. These shapes here, these will just be fills. They're not going to be strokes. These are just kind of represent bubbles. We'll go ahead and build those. And then the last shape is this one down here. Okay, so once I get to this point in the style, if I go to my layers, everything's here. So what I usually do is I'll usually look at it and decide if I need to rebuild anything. In this case, I don't think so. I'm just going to copy this. We're going to turn off these layers. And now this is 200% larger. And so I'm just going to paste that art here, go to scale, go 200%. And this is the final size I build it at. We can get rid of these guides. I just wanted to show you that. So this is the final size of the artwork. And we're going to select everything minus what's just going to be fills. And that'll be his eye and the bubbles, all this line work. Let's see, where's our stroke? We'll go in here, and we're just going to push this to 8 points. So that's what I use on everything. That's the continuity of the entire set. Uses 8 points. All of these, his eyes, his bubbles, these will just be simple fills. So we'll go ahead and just fill it with that, get rid of the stroke. So this is kind of the base art. And then I'll go in where it makes sense, and I'll put a round cap just so it looks better than, you know, the flat one. I think this is getting a little too close up here. So this is one example where I'll probably take this and just move it up just so there's more gap here. And then I'll just cut off what I don't need and delete it like this. I think that'll be fine. Everything else, I keep getting thrown off by these artifacts on screen. Like it looks like something is there, but there isn't. Okay. So I think this is good. So what I'm going to do now is I'll usually make a copy of this so I can always go back to that same file, and then I'll expand this next one. We'll go Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. So it turns it all into shapes. I'm going to go to Pathfinder, Unite. Then we're going to go to Object, compound path. I'm going to release. You might have to ungroup it a few times. I'm going to deselect the background image, deselect these bubbles, and all these interior shapes, I'm just going to go ahead and fill them white, like that. Then we can take the outline shape. This will become a black. Those we can leave as is. We have an eye here, so I'm going to send this to the back. Then I'll select the eye, and we'll go ahead and minus front to punch it out. I don't think I have any more of those type of shapes. So once I get this, this is the base. Well, not quite yet. Let's go to Object. We go Path, Offset Path. The total weight of the stroke that goes around all the artwork in this series is 20 points. Right now we have an 8 point, so we're going to add 12 to the outside. We'll go like that. So this is the look and feel. I can take this and delete it. I usually move it to another layer. Now these, the bubbles, need to be part of this, but notice they're higher than the edge, so they can't be. That's exceeding the tolerances I've set for all the art. So we'll make sure those don't go above it. I might move it over a little bit. This one, again, actually I'll use this over here to gauge that. And we'll go top. So I think that's fine. And then on this last one here, we'll select this and make sure it doesn't go to the left too far and it doesn't go below the base of the art. So right there. Now once I have those set, I'll select these shapes. I'll clone them. By the way, I have a keyboard shortcut, Command-C, Command-F, and bring to front, assigned to the F3 key. It's for clone. I used freehand for 15 years, and they had a clone command. First thing I did when I came to Illustrator is realize they don't have clone. I used it all the time, so learned keyboard shortcuts and created my own command to do that. Now that we have that, we're going to go to offset. We'll go the full weight of 20 because we need to add outline around this. We'll go ahead and unite them. I'm going to color it black. We're going to take the outline we created, unite it all together, select this, select all of our art, Command-B, paste behind. And these will be turned to white. So this is all my base black and white. Actually, we got some shapes in here we don't need, like these. That's technically the background, so we can get rid of those. This is all of our base black and white. I usually save this as is, and then I'll make a copy of this layer. And this is the artwork. I'll go in and I'll start doing subtle rounding. So everything's coming to a sharp point. So if we start on the fish's tail, this is where I'll use the Dynamic Corners plugin. And I'm just going to go in and add little rounds to certain areas. Like maybe since this comes into the base of the head, we'll make those a little bigger, like that. I can sample a one round and apply it to another. So that's why I use this more than the native tool, because it makes doing this rounding go way faster. So I can just sample this and apply that same round to these like that. I can go to this point and just apply them to those. I don't have to pre-select anything. Just goes a lot faster. It's more intuitive. Go ahead and set that. Once again, it remembers your last one. So if you want to use the same round, you can keep clicking corners and it'll apply that same value to all those corners. So it's really nice like that. This one, we'll put a little round there. So I hardly leave any, let's zoom in. I usually don't leave a whole lot of sharp vertices or corners. I usually go in, I'll put even small rounds on stuff like this and even on areas like this. it just ends up just looking a lot nicer. And it doesn't matter if you've rounded with the corner widget. It'll detect those rounds too, and you can make adjustments on those as well, even though they weren't created with this plugin. Now, sometimes you'll have an anchor point that's so close to a corner, it's going to limit your ability to round it larger. In that case, I'll just remove them. You can see there's another one in here. I'll remove it, and then I can sample, go back to the tool, sample this one, and then apply it. So that's how I kind of get around that. This one's doing the same thing, so we have to select those, get rid of them. There's going to be a couple here. And then we can apply that same round. So a lot of people, like when they watch my animation, they're going, they'll call out the time code and they go, what are you doing here? It's like you're not doing anything, just moving around. Well, technically, this is what I'm doing, is I'm doing all these subtle rounds. It's just you're not going to really see them unless you're zoomed in like this. But I've just found it just makes it look, I don't know, just looks more custom. I mean, everybody design-wise has become, kind of has seen logos over the years that have all this, minute rounding on them, and people like that aesthetic, when in actuality, it was never designed to be an aesthetic. It was because of stat cameras. They would round off sharp corners. Saul Bass, all of his logos were sharp corners, but over time, through optics, they kind of rounded off. Now everybody likes that look, and so they do it on purpose. It's kind of ironic. Okay, we're going to add a few more rounds. Here, like that. Put a bigger one there. I'll zoom out. I'm a little too close now. And I need to figure out this audio thing because I wish I could hear everybody, because it'd make for better, it'd make for conversation, period, not better conversation. I mean, I can't hear anybody. So I know that's possible, but I don't know. I must have set something up wrong. Okay, we got that. Get rid of that. I'm now on this series, I finished, this is 214, so I finished 213 last night. Oh, okay. Here's a good opportunity to show you a cool plugin. So at times when certain things overlap and you fuse them together or unite them in Illustrator, it'll create anchor points like this. Because, as the engineer said, it's because Illustrator's too precise. Yeah, right. Okay, so the way I deal with this is there's a great plugin called Smart Remove Brush tool, and I can just go right over those, and it doesn't destroy my path. It just removes the unnecessary anchor points. So there's a lot of these plugins and features that, I'm just going to say it how it is, Illustrator has ripped off of Astute Graphics. No other way to say it, they have. I say that because they've tried to buy out Astute Graphics like 2 different times, at least, maybe more. And they haven't sold to Adobe because, they wouldn't pay a severance to Astute Graphics employees. So I thought that was pretty honorable of the owner of Astute Graphics to watch out for his employees like that. And I thought it was pretty cheap for Adobe, a billion-dollar company, not wanting to give employees a severance. So I'm kind of glad they're sticking to their guns and they keep developing stuff, because just give you an idea. So there was, I think we have, I'm not used to talking and doing this, so I don't want to miss anything. I think we have everything rounded. So if, let's compare, and then I'll get back to that story. So rounds, this is without rounds, this is with rounds. And you can see just the subtle aesthetic it adds to it. I just think it looks really good. So let's see. Okay, so now I forget what I was talking about. I was talking about Astute and trying to be bought out by Adobe. This is why I love Astute. It's because I was using one of their plugins, and there is one plugin that came with the set that I installed, and I'd never used all the tools that came with it. And then I was playing with one day and discovered, oh my God, this works awesome. I didn't know you could do this. And I've started building everything with that. And I contacted Astute and I said, this tool's really good. Let me just show you what the tool is. So this is the one I'd use all the time. By the way, these two, never used them. I don't even really know what they do, but I probably should check them out because I might find something I could use. But it was this bottom one. I go, oh, what's this all about? So let's get a graphic style so you can see this. Well, this allows you to go click, and you go click, and then you can just bend it however you want. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I mean, that's way easier than pen tool. Click, click, and then you have to switch tools. Where's the anchor point tool? See, I don't have all my palettes set up. Okay, there it is. And then you can grab the path, and then you can bend it, but that might not be exactly what you want. You'd have to kind of do this and go here, and that's why I started building everything that's like this with their plugin. The only thing is when I started doing this, it wouldn't connect the anchors at the corners, so I'd have to go in and drag select and Command J. Not a big thing. Well, I showed them how I was using it at the time I was working on this snake graphic, and they commented, well, we didn't even intend people to use it that way, but that is cool. And within 2 days, they added that functionality of the anchor points automatically closing on a shape. 2 days to respond to user feedback. I've been bugging Adobe for it's almost 10 years, and they still haven't fixed the snapping bug. So that's why I like supporting them. They do a great job. Okay, we have to color this guy, and I have a certain select palette of colors I tend to use on this set. It's kind of this bottom line row down here, and this is where I have really no idea how I'm going to color it. Maybe around his eye we could do that. Fish lips. Maybe we go. This is where I'll always go back. Like when I do my time-lapse videos, if you compare those with the actual finished art, you'll see that I always go back and I end up changing stuff around if I think it looks better another way. So I might end up doing that as well. So koi fish we have a calico one that's all kinds of different colors. So I'm going to kind of take a little bit of artistic license because of that. And I also try to balance out the colors as well. I think that looks, maybe this can be orange. We just got 4 new koi the other day. They're only like, each one is maybe 3 inches long. Our biggest koi weighs about 25 pounds. He's pretty huge now. I've lost several over the years. I was in my office working. I got a tweet from a neighbor. Hey, Vaughn, I keep seeing, it looks like a hawk dive bombing in your backyard. And I'm like, what? I got up and I went out to the kitchen. I'm looking out the window that kind of oversees our pond. And then just this blur of a hawk comes down, snags, it was a completely white koi fish, and flies off with it. And my first response was, that was cool, followed by, crap, he stole one of my koi. So it is kind of cool. It's fun. It's fun having them, but there's a heron that kind of hangs out in this area. There's a garden store about a half a mile away, and I learned from the owner of the garden store that the herons, at least the name they gave it is now I can't remember. It starts with an M, Morty or something like that, or Morris. It's a name like, God, I can't remember the name now, but he sits on our neighbor's house and he scopes out our pond. And I've caught him in our pond trying to catch some of the goldfish and some of the koi. So we have to watch out for that guy, because he's always trying to kind of get our koi fish. Okay, enough talking. Let's get back. Okay. I'm probably going to end up going back and changing this. I mean, it's okay, but I try not to get colors, any one color, too many in one area. I try to balance it, but okay. See, I don't like that this is right next to the red, so not sure what color to do this. But then that's right next. I tend to overthink this stuff, but maybe that's what I do. Nah, I don't like that either. Okay, I might go back and change that eventually. Anybody have a recommendation for this top fin? Oh, maybe I do it this color. And change these to blue. And one of them can be yellow. Something like this. I was going to keep this white because a lot of koi fish have white on them, so I don't know. We'll do this, but I'll knock this down. Okay. Does the white head bug you guys? It's kind of looking weird that it's, since his eyes, maybe something like that. I kind of like that. I make these dark. Make these light. Go in here and I can't make up my mind, but anyway, that's I think we'll call it good. I'm probably going to mess around with these colors some more, but that's usually how I go from my original sketch to the final art. Um, uh, I'm probably definitely going to change this one. I just need to step away from it and then come back and then can usually figure it out. But anyway, hey, uh, thanks for attending this live session. I hope you at least enjoyed it. I'll try to figure out the audio issues so I can hear people and respond just to off the cuff comments. But hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys later.